Record, start recording. What the fuck was that?
It's my phone doing things. I should probably put it on silent, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Phone's on silent. It's fucked off right into my ass. We're ready to go.
Wow, okay. As long as it's on vibrate.
No, it's on silent.
And
I'll never find
that's
it.
the intro. No.
No, it's not. Get out of here with that.
I'm kidding. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JnB Boiz Podcast number 3. I'm your boy, Jared.
And I'm your boy, Bubbz.
And we're here with you once again to talk about some amazing and wonderful topics of video games, nerdiness, and all-around awesomeness. All right, let's get things started off with the future consoles of yesterday or yesteryear or years to come or whatever the fuck they're called. They're not next gen consoles. It's future consoles. Is that the official name for them?
Yeah, I think it's future gen. I don't know.
Whatever. There's a lot of just BS going down with pre-ordering of either your Xboxes or your PlayStation 5s right now. Everyone was like, we're not going to release until the specific moment, and then they said they were going to release at a specific moment, and they didn't release at a specific moment, but then Walmart was like, we're releasing right now, and then everyone else was like, oh crap, we're going to release right now. It's a big hoo-ha fiasco BS, just like everything happening with the pre-ordering process of the consoles is comical and simultaneously not really surprising, because neither like Sony, Microsoft, maybe Nintendo's the exception, but like Sony and Microsoft, they never have smooth releases for their new consoles. It's always some crazy dramatic BS, and it's happening again right now with the pre-ordering of the new consoles.
And not just the pre-ordering of the new consoles, but also with the new graphics card lines that are coming out through NVIDIA with the RTX 3080s and possibly the 3090s and the 3070s as well. I know that the 3080s had a big, awful flop of a release with lots of scalpers and bots going through trying to buy them, because I myself did try to buy one and was not able to. And I had to settle with a 2070, which was definitely an upgrade from my 660. That being said, not only consoles are flopping on their releases, but so are the PC realm things like the graphics cards. Yeah, well,
I guess everyone has a potential of flopping with a new release, but it seems like the consoles always have issues. It's always a big dramatic thing, because there's always, it's always the console war. It's always Sony versus Microsoft, Xbox versus PlayStation, yada yada yada. So it's just like it's comical, it's ironic, and almost somewhat amusing to see both of them. Although I think Sony had the worst pre-ordering sort of like out the gate kind of a thing than Microsoft did, because Microsoft, I think, they did not allow like Walmart and other vendors like that to release early, whereas Sony didn't have that control, and I believe Walmart started selling pre-orders before Sony wanted them to, or something crazy like that.
That sounds about right for Walmart. Thanks, Sam Walton.
Yeah, it's just a big fiasco. And then I've also heard that there's a lot of people that thought they were buying the new Xbox, but they were actually buying Xbox Ones. Did you hear about that?
They were buying the Xbox One X's instead of the Xbox Series X because they're so similar. I happen to have an Xbox One X, and yeah, they're definitely not the same as the Series X. So yeah, there's a lot of disappointed people who got gifts in the mail instead of a pre-order.
Which should have been their first giveaway. Is like, if you're receiving your Xbox in the mail before they're released, you probably bought the wrong thing.
Yeah, but to be fair, in all honesty, the Xbox One X is going to be able to run the same games, at least for now, as the Series X will. At least for initial release.
Right. I saw an article that like all the games that the Xbox has now can be run on the new ones at like 60 frames per second at 4K and all this stuff, and I'm like, whoop-de-doo, people aren't buying the new Xbox system to play the old game. So to be honest, backwards compatibility is great and all, but when it comes down to it, no one is buying a freaking new Xbox so that they could play a game that came out, 5 months ago or longer ago.
Well, most people aren't. I mean, I would, but not for something like if it was something like Xbox Originals. I mean, yeah, I'd buy it just because, I don't have an original Xbox anymore. But yeah, everybody wants the new games. You
can easily go onto Amazon and buy an original Xbox with those games. You don't, for like $50 maybe. You don't have to go and spend $300-$400, whatever the price is that's going to be for Xbox, to get backwards compatibility to play those games, if that's all you want it for.
Right.
That doesn't that wouldn't make sense. Like, anyone who's buying a new console is looking to get that new content. The backwards compatibility is a nice little bonus. It always is. It's always been an area of contention. But no one buys a new console. No one buys a new console for backwards compatibility. People buy new consoles for new games, when it comes down to it.
Right. It's always exciting for backwards compatibility, but it's not a necessity. I mean, especially if you already own the older console.
I've never cared about when I was younger, I cared. I don't know, maybe I'm more cynical, or I just don't give a crap anymore, but like, once I've played games, I rarely go back to them. So backwards compatibility is not that big of a deal for me personally. That's just me personally.
Right.
I know some people that's not the case. But like, I want to play what's new and shiny because that's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for the new hardware and the advanced, softwares and firmwares and hardwares that come with these new consoles. I want to see some shiny. I don't want
shiny.
I mean, I'm a fan of older games as well. Like I've been playing for forever. So
I feel that
the nostalgia is not lost on me. There's a very solid place in my soul for nostalgia. But when it comes down to it, it's like, if I'm gonna pay hundreds of dollars for a new console, it's not because I want to play freaking Final Fantasy VII original on my freaking PlayStation 5. It's because I want to play freaking Cyberpunk or something new that looks freaking amazing and is awesome. It's going to utilize that technology to its fullest potential. But that's just me.
Right.
That's just me.
No, I feel that. Yeah, no, I mean, for real though, like, it's one of those things. They want new games, gotta get the new console. I mean, and they put out new consoles, it seems like every 7 years or so. I mean, if you look back, the Xbox Ones and the PlayStation 4s came out in 2013. And so it's about that 7-year mark.
Yeah.
So it's definitely time for the new generation. Unfortunately, I will not be joining in on that new generation this time. I have been a hardcore Xbox fan for the longest time, and I've bought the new consoles when they came out. And this time I'm not. I'm just sick of the whole buying into the consoles thing. I just built my computer. I'm gonna be set for the next forever.
Yeah.
So.
Why don't you tell the folks listening about your new build? Like, let's stray from the topic for a second, because you just came into the big leagues.
Yeah, I just came into the big leagues. So before when we started this podcast, I was running a really old, outdated build from like 2013. I had a motherboard that only had 2 slots of RAM that worked. One of them was broken, so I was limited to only 2. My processor was like a 2nd gen Intel, outdated, very, very outdated. My graphics card was a 660.
This is my favorite part, by the way.
And it was awful. I could hardly play frickin' Among Us.
Wow, really?
On anything. Like I could play it. It was fine, but I had times where it didn't work. Same goes for other games. Like, I mean, if you've watched any of Jared's videos on like 7 Days to Die from way back when we did those, I was running on a 660, and that thing was having a really hard time keeping up even on all the lowest settings. Though, to be fair, optimization is not the strong suit of the fun pimps at this time. But it runs a lot smoother now, but before it didn't. So it was time for an upgrade.
And how is that video card held in place?
Oh, the 660?
Yeah.
Oh, so in my expansion ports, I'm missing screws for my expansion ports. Not all of them, just some of them. But it's an odd number, like 3. So I have one screw holding in my Wi-Fi extender card or my Wi-Fi grabber card, because where I live, I don't have access to the internet. And it's not where I can plug in through Ethernet. But so I've got a Wi-Fi card for that. That's held in with one screw. My graphics card was supposed to be held in by other screws that went missing, along with the rest of my expansion slot covers. And so it was held on with tape. Clear masking tape is how I held my graphics card into the expansion slot, and I had problems with it all the time. I would kick the computer on accident, just barely tap it because I have it down by my feet, and it would just freeze up the whole thing, or the graphics card would stop working. I'd lose my computer monitors and everything else like that. And so yeah, it was definitely time for an upgrade.
That's awesome.
So now I've upgraded. I'll talk a little bit about I'll just give a quick synopsis of the build and we can continue on with
Do it.
The podcast. But for anybody who's wondering, I am now running a Corsair and MSI build. It's up to date for the most part, minus the graphics card. Not top of the line, but I mean, it'll get me through it. So I've got a Corsair carbide case. It's the 111R. I've got a MSI GeForce Ventus GP RTX 2070 that I'm running for my graphics card. I'm running a 1085. Fuck. I'm gonna have to edit that. I'm running the Intel Core 10850K 10-core processor, so that's a pretty much top of the line, not to the extreme point, but like the consumer top of the line for processor. I'm running an AIO mag cooler through MSI 24R. I've got Corsair RAM, about 32 gigabytes. I've got Corsair Power, 750. And yeah, I'm also running a SSD and hard drive combo for operating boot speed time of 7 seconds from time of turning on the computer to logging in.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm definitely with the way of the future, so I won't be buying a new console anytime soon.
That's fair enough. It's easy to ignore the consoles when you've got a decent PC, because a decent PC will last you 10 years or more at this point. So I mean, you really, with the exception of some of the console exclusives, if that's even a concern or not, like, you don't really need a console. Me, on the other hand, am I going to pre-order a console? No, I'm not. Am I going to buy a console? It's possible. It really just depends on how I'm sitting financially at some point. Like, I'm not going to buy into it right now because it's just like a big fiasco and everyone's trying to pre-order and it's selling out everywhere. And I don't like getting into that realm of, purchasing and stuff like that. So I'll wait for the hype to come down. And if I do buy one, I will probably buy a PS5, but I'll probably get the digital version because honestly, like, I just don't buy physical copies of games anymore. It's all Steam and stuff like that anyway, so I'm used to that. Right. So if I do go a direction, that's probably the direction I go, because I do really enjoy a lot of the PlayStation exclusives that come with PlayStation, like God of War and just to name a few others, like Last of Us and Uncharted. And I don't know if those are going to be games that they're going to make more of or not, but I'm just saying, like, I've always been a big fan of the exclusives that come with PlayStation, so that's probably the direction I would go. Honestly, if you're going to buy a console, I would go that direction too, especially if you're already a PC gamer, since, like, you are, because, I mean, you have the Xbox Game Pass. Yep.
And so a lot of their exclusives they're on the Game Pass,
yep,
but they're also on the Game Pass for PC as it sits already. So it's like you really have no reason to buy an Xbox
exactly.
If you already have a PC, because Microsoft is Microsoft. Their games are going to be on both. So, I mean, if you're going to buy a console and you don't have a PC, yeah, choose which one you want. But if you have a PC, I would just go with the one that doesn't have the exclusives coming to both platforms.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's not in our list of topics here, but I think Game Pass has already got slated. I don't know if it's out yet or not, but our main topic, which we'll get to eventually, is about Microsoft and Bethesda and all that stuff. But Game Pass has already got friggin' Doom Eternal coming to it. Like they're
nice.
on it. Game Pass is on it, and I've recently subscribed to Game Pass. I didn't even know about it till recently, and it's freaking awesome. Like I think it's a great deal. Like you start off paying like $1 a month, and then like $5, just the basic whatever, and you get access to just a crap ton of new games as well as older games, and I can play them right on my computer, just like you were saying. Like so, I mean, there's really no need for me to buy. I'm not gonna go spend, $300-$400 to play Halo or Gears of War, which is really the only exclusives that Xbox has, if you don't count, the possibility of Bethesda titles coming. Bethesda, ZeniMax / Obsidian, which is also part of that, apparently. That's we can talk about that later. But yeah, for me personally, pre-order, no. If I do buy, it'll be PlayStation 5 and it'll be the digital version because it's like $100 cheaper. And I hate going out into the world anyways, so that just gives me the excuse to just purchase digital versions of games anyways, so I don't have to deal with people and crowds and lines and stuff like that anyway. So I'm always down for that. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. It's always interesting when new consoles come out. Just, as someone who enjoys video games and the industry, and I like to see how the technology is changing and what they can do with it, I'm excited just to see what's going to come out of the new future gen of consoles, just on a creativity standpoint, if nothing else. Like, I'm really excited to see what developers are going to be doing with the new technology that they have at their disposal. So we'll see.
The future is now.
Wow.
And speaking of the future, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Call of Duty Season 6 for Warzone.
Your baby.
Well, it hasn't been for a while. I haven't played in a bit, but yeah, you're right. My baby.
I think you've talked about it every podcast so far.
Yeah, I know. I apologize for that.
No, it's that time of year where Call of Duty is prominent, so go for it.
That is very true. So, Call of Duty Season 6 is coming out. The Haunting of Verdansk event is going to be coming out as well, with vampire bats and more Warzone changes.
Wow. Vampire bats?
Yeah, I guess so.
Are they like playable? Are they playable, or are they like a perk, like you kill a kill streak kind of a thing?
Honestly, I think they're more of just a cosmetic, in all honesty, because normally they're not gonna do stuff like give you game breaking stuff like that, or adding, like, they'll add new perks and stuff like that. But this is like a seasonal event, so I'd imagine it's something to do with their pass that they have, their battle pass. And so you'll get, like, it'll probably have to do with skins or like some sort of like flair for your costume or whatever.
Okay.
That's all I can really think of.
It does. From what I'm reading, a Flying Fiend, in addition to other cosmetic rewards. So yeah, it does definitely sound like it's going to be a cosmetic addition, which is kind of, I think it'd be kind of cool though. Hear me out. Call of Duty, vampire bats. You get a kill streak. Let's say you need like X amount of kills to get the kill streak. Vampire bat turns you into a vampire. And you're faster, you're stronger, you can, jump long distances or something. But it's only for the Halloween season, and then it's gone.
I could see that. That'd be kind of cool. Like a replacement for Juggernaut after you get 15 kills.
Even better idea, dude. You got it. Like, instead of Juggernaut, you turn into a vampire. Like, if you're going to add stuff like this, like, let's have some fun with it,
Right. Like, it'd be the same thing. It'd be like the same damage that you do as Juggernaut, but like, yeah, it would be a vampire thing where you could jump further and stuff like that. Or, something along those lines. Something that's not going to like break the game, but it'll definitely add some cool aesthetic to it and some change to it.
Break the game. It's only for the Halloween season. Freaking break it. Screw it. throw everything upside down. Who gives a crap? Just just have fun with it. I wish more developers would do stuff like that. Like, everything has to be balanced, and if something's overbalanced, it gets nerfed. That sort of just like repetitive cycle is so annoying to me. I was talking to someone at work about Borderlands, and they're talking about how certain weapon drops are getting nerfed. I'm like, that defeats the entire purpose of that game. The entire purpose of that game is the fact that you might possibly get a drop of a weapon that's freaking amazing, and you're gonna have the upper hand because RNG rolled in your favor and you got an awesome weapon. But then
praise RNGesus.
Exactly. But then you got the company nerfing that. It's like, well, what's the freaking point of this whole thing that you've developed then? So I want to see occasionally just break the freaking game. In this case, it's just for Halloween, maybe for like the month of October or like the last 2 weeks of October. Have something that just like is so ridiculously overpowered, and then it goes away.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
After the 31st of October, it's gone. You go back to the same old. It's just for fun.
Break the game though any more than it's already broken, unfortunately to say. There are so many hackers playing this game and cheaters and all that, and they're trying to do stuff about it, but they're like lazily trying to do stuff about it, unfortunately. Because I see TikToks all the time of these people. Oh yeah, I won my Royale or blah blah blah, or here's some gameplay of me, and they got these little boxes so they can see people through buildings and through landscapes, and then they got their auto aims and their aim bots and everything else. And like, honestly, to anybody who might be listening who happens to do this kind of stuff, please stop ruining games for people like me who like to play games.
Go delete your account. Burn your computer or your console. Give up on gaming.
For real. Back into the thing here, though, aside from cheaters. So with this new update that they're having in now, or with Season 6, they're adding other new things in here. So you're going to get new operators. Cool. From what I'm seeing, you're getting the new operators. The powerful new pet is what it's saying, so I imagine it's something to do with that bat. So something like an execution or something like that, a quip execution or something. A new way to travel, and what they mean by that is that I've been seeing some things. They're going to be opening up the metro system in Verdansk. If you've watched Jared's play of Warzone that I was part of, we hid in a metro station for a good majority of one of the games, and then was very quickly murdered. So they're going to be opening that up, and you'll be able to ride these trains to different parts of the maps that are underground. And there's some little quirks behind them, and if I remember correctly, you can't fight on the trains. It's just used as a form of the travel, and the trains will not go to places where there are conflict happenings at the moment that you're trying to go there. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they incorporate that.
Yeah.
Just because, they added a train last season. It's an above ground train, and I've definitely seen a lot of people get destroyed on that train. It may have been one of those people who got destroyed on the train, but it was a cool little addition. But yeah, so they're going to be adding that in there. A little more information on everything that's going on. They're going to have the battle pass again, of course. It's going to add 2 new weapons, which I guess is the Val Assault Rifle and the SPR-208 Sniper. Cool. Season 6 will also bring in some switching up of maps for 6v6, gunfight, and grounded war, which I believe are modes that are outside of Warzone. I don't really play casual multiplayer all that much for Call of Duty anymore, so I'd imagine that's what that's for. There's going to be a new limited time mode called Armored Royale for Warzone, where each squad gets an armored truck. And yeah, so that'll be fun. It's kind of like when they added the Juggernauts into the Warzone.
It's a Juggernaut on wheels.
Essentially, yeah, it can be, but everybody gets one. Each squad gets one.
Oh my goodness.
From what I'm seeing here.
So it's turning it into freaking what's that tank game?
World of Tanks.
It's like, yeah, it's turning into World of Tanks.
Possibly. So that's going to be what's going on for season 6, and luckily that's going to be happening on September 29th, which by the time this is posted, that will have already happened.
Right. At the moment we're recording this, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
The thing that is interesting to me that you didn't mention was in the tweet that COD put out about all this information in it, with the new way of travel, powerful new pet, new operators, but then it says a terrifying mid-season event. What the hell does that mean? I
have no idea.
I want to know what that means. You know, like, that is so enigmatic.
It's hard for me to talk about things that I have no idea about. So I kind of just
you're
blew
fine,
over it.
But I'm just like, just for the sake of conversation, like I'm most curious about that, and maybe that's the whole point. They're obviously keeping it sort of like a secret or under wraps until that moment happens, but a terrifying mid-season event.
I may or may not have seen some things here and there on TikTok and heard some rumors. I definitely don't like to be the kind of person that spoils something, especially if it's actually what it turns out to be. But here goes.
Well,
my philosophy.
Spoiler alert to anyone listening. If you don't want to know, then skip ahead.
Well, you know, if it is what it is, I don't know if this is what it's going to be, but I have suspicion.
Potential spoiler alert.
Foreshadowing.
This is conjecture.
So my opinion on what this mid-season event may be is they're saying, you know, terrifying mid-season event, spooky, Halloween, zombies. They're going to add zombies to Royale. I feel like that might be something that could happen. They could add like a zombie Royale type of deal as like a teaser or something, or just like, it's an event, you know, it'll be something to spice things up.
Which it could fall in line with the reveal that's coming for Call of Duty Cold War.
Oh yeah, the zombie reveal.
Yeah, there's supposedly a zombie, like, by the time you guys listen to this, the reveal will have already happened. So, you know, take that as it is. At the moment we're recording this, the reveal has not come out yet. We just know that there's going to be a reveal, but it sounds like zombies is going to be returning in the new Call of Duty Cold War. But yeah, maybe they could do a zombie thing in the current battle royale. That would be freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, because zombie mode, from the moment if it's inception in World at War or whatever, I loved it back then. Like, it's changed a lot, and I kind of like didn't really care about it after the first rendition of it. But I loved the first zombie mode, was so freaking cool. I think zombies would work amazingly in a battle royale situation. It's almost like an open world environment with zombies. It's almost perfect.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. I can already think of how they could do it as well. Because PUBG Mobile did something similar to this, or PUBG in general, I think. I don't know. I've only played PUBG Mobile for the longest time. But they had a zombie mode that was in cahoots with Resident Evil 2 when it came out. Where it's like you had your squad of 4, but there was like 10 or 15 squads of 4. Of course, you're still trying to kill each other and become the final victor, but you also had zombies to worry about.
Right.
And once you died, I don't remember, because I only played it once or twice, but I think once you died, you became a zombie.
You became a zombie, yeah.
And so that they could incorporate that into Warzone if that's what they're planning on doing.
That would be so freaking fun.
That would be super duper fun. It would just lower the amount of people, and then it's like, yeah, you know, you got, you know, like a squad of 4 or whatever, and
we definitely
like 20 teams.
We definitely need to live stream that if that is the case.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And if it's not the case, go ahead and leave on YouTube. Go ahead and leave a comment when you find out that we were wrong, and let us know we were wrong.
Right, we might be completely wrong because, yeah, like we said, it hasn't been revealed yet. Feel free to like lay into us and like how stupid we were, and assuming that was going to be the case, because that's what the internet's for.
We've been wrong before, every single time.
You know what? Oh well.
Yeah, that's fair. But you know something that I'm not wrong about?
What's
Rocket
that?
League.
Holy crap!
So, Rocket League is my big topic. As some of you may know, if you've ever watched any of my streams on twitch.tv/Bubbz,
There's a plug.
Which I'll be getting back into streaming here pretty soon with this new rig. But Rocket League is now free to play.
FTP.
On everything. FTP. Free to play on everything. Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, Epic Games Store. Wherever you can get Rocket League, it is free to play now. They have updated it. So no more having to buy into it. It's a really fun game. I was pretty ecstatic for it because that's new fresh meat for me to demolish on the court. Because I usually get my ass handed to me by all the higher levels. I happen to be a Diamond 3 player working my way towards champ.
Damn.
And I get destroyed often and get thrown back down in the ranks. But now with some new fresh meat, maybe I can climb my ranks a little higher. With Rocket League free to play now, they've added some new things to it. So now there's a new rank above Grand Champ, which is called Supersonic Legend, I do believe. So people who are in the Grand Champ levels will now be able to go up into the Supersonic Legend channels of the ranks and into their different sub ranks that they have for that. Rocket League being free to play and owned through Epic Games, you can now sync all of your accounts together and choose which one you want to use across all your accounts. Take this for an example. I have Rocket League on every single console. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. I don't have it for Epic Games, but it's free. Why would I download it twice on the computer? Anyway, so I have it on Xbox.
You're talking to someone who's downloaded Skyrim like 15 billion times in different platforms and multiple times.
That's fair. I mean, I
computer,
have two.
So
I originally played Rocket League when it first came out on PlayStation. I didn't own one, and I really enjoyed the game, so I waited for it to come out on Xbox because I didn't have a PC back then. And so it came out on Xbox, and I progressively worked my way up through the ranks over the course of 4 years, being stuck in high gold, low platinum for like 2 of those years, and then just recently going up to diamond. With that being said, though, I have all my stuff on Xbox, and I'm not upgrading to the new console, at least as far as I'm concerned right now. What am I going to do now? Like, now that I want to go play PC all the time? Yeah, normally, under any circumstance, you would have different profiles for each console that you use. What Rocket League is now doing, with the help of Epic Games, is you've got an Epic Games store account or an Epic Games account. You can log into that account with whatever console you're using for the game, and you can sync all the accounts together and set whichever one you want as your primary. Now, you don't necessarily lose the data for the other consoles or your Steam or Nintendo Switch's progress or anything like that, but whenever you are logged in through the Epic Games thing, when you have them synced together, you only use one profile now, and that's the one that you choose as your primary. So I would take my Xbox profile, which I've already done this, take the Xbox profile, set that as my primary. I am now playing with all my items, minus console exclusives, of course. All my items, my ranks, my skins, everything is now being able to be played on not only my Xbox, but now Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. So now I've retained my rank for all of them, and it all synced together now, so I don't have to worry about having 4 different profiles.
That's the dream right there, man.
Yeah, that is something that you don't often see this done at all.
It's always a billion different profiles for the same thing.
Yeah, and Rocket League has simplified that. So I definitely have to give them some props for that. I mean, they have definitely been on the decline, in my opinion, in terms of keeping up with server maintenance and making sure that things are running smoothly in the game, because sometimes you can have the best internet connection in the world and it doesn't matter because the game is just literally destroying you. They have a lot of issues with latency and stuff like that as well between other gamers and stuff, and they're working on fixing that kind of stuff and whatnot. And this was definitely, that was a cool thing that they did there. And then on top of that, making it free to play, they're now engaging and getting more people to play the game and buy the credits. God, I hate the credits, but You know, they're going to buy the credits, they're going to buy the skins, they're going to make more money with this game being free to play than they did with it being a paid for title.
Totally.
And they're updating it constantly now, or at least on a consistent basis now, because they have their Rocket Pass and everything else like that. So I feel like they're moving in a direction where they're going to start taking better care of the game than they were before, and that makes me extremely happy.
Did Epic Games acquire Rocket League?
Yes, they did. I think it was last year or earlier in the year. Epic bought out Psyonix, so Psyonix is now under Epic.
Very interesting, and not to like jump ahead of topics or anything, but it's very it almost seems very fortuitous for them to be releasing Rocket League for free on all platforms. Does that include Apple OS?
Well, Rocket League isn't on mobile.
Oh, it's not.
No,
Okay.
It's just on consoles. Yeah, it's not on Android or Apple. Unless you have like Xbox Games Pass or whatever, where you can stream to your phone and use a controller that's attached to your phone to play those games. But that's still really new, and I don't know a lot about that.
I was just thinking like a very good timing for them to release a game like that on all platforms, considering that they're in the middle of a big legal battle with Apple right now, which we talked about in the last podcast.
Right.
But and it might still be linked. It still might be them trying to show the world like, hey, we're all about, you know, everyone having access to everything at all times. Not like those other guys, not like Apple, and like they're very restrictive. Like maybe this is a move to make themselves look good or something.
Well, I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, as much as I would think making a game free to play, you know, that's an awesome move. Don't get me wrong. But they're going to make most of their money, aside from esports, of course, they're going to make most of their money off of people buying their credits and buying items instead of unlocking. Well, like the only way to get other items aside from just unlockable items is you get a blueprint now. It used to be a crate system where you'd buy a key for $1 to unlock the crate, kind of like Team Fortress, and you would get an item. Well, they converted all that kind of stuff, like all the crates and whatnot, into blueprints. And so you know what's on that blueprint. But now you have to pay a premium to unlock that blueprint. So if you would get an item, one of the last items that I actually bought, and this is something that I told myself I would buy if I got it in a blueprint, was one of the black market decals, which are animated decals. And so I got one, and it was $20 to unlock that.
Wow.
That's the last bit of money I spent on Rocket League, was that $20 to unlock that. That is outrageous, because you could easily, you know, well, I guess, I mean, it's, at the same time, you know, it's a gamble type of deal too. They're no longer under the whole gambling thing anymore, because you know what you're going to get. They're asking for a premium per item, and every item has a different price.
Is it all cosmetic, or is it?
Yes.
It's free to play, but is it pay to win?
No, it's all cosmetic.
Okay. Well, to me, that's different. Like, if it's cosmetics, like, it does kind of suck that if at one point you could have unlocked that through hard work, but now you have to pay for it. But at the same time, as long as people aren't getting to pay real money to get an advantage, I'm still kind of okay with that concept. It's like, if you want that animated skin and you want to look all ooh on your live stream, I mean, that's completely up to you, and it's completely up to each individual how much they're willing to spend or invest to look a certain way or whatever. Right. You know, it's all down to the individual. I'm okay with that, as long as it's not pay to win, because a lot of things that go free to play go pay to win, and that's something no one likes, except for those that can afford to pay to win.
Right. Rocket League has always been a game about skill, even since they updated it and made it easier back in the beginning, as it was a really hard game to play, and then they updated it over time and made it easier for casual people to get into and whatnot, which is fine. But it's never been pay to win. I just think it's kind of outrageous, though. It's like, yeah, you know, if you want to buy that skin, like me, I paid $20 to own that skin. Because I told myself that I would buy that skin. That was just how it was. And normally, like, all the other skins I would get were from, you know, opening crates. And it's like, some days I would, if I got a wild hair, I would drop, you know, $40 for keys. And then I would have, you know, like, I think I had like 200 crates at one point before they got transferred into blueprints, just because you get the crates for free. And so I would just open a bunch of crates, and then it's like I had a 1 in like 50 chance of getting what I actually wanted. And there was a lot of money that was wasted there. This is more down to the point. So it's, you're roughly spending the same. So I understand, but it's like the prices are still like super duper outrageous. Which is like, it's just crazy.
It's starting to sound like CS:GO.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, except instead of trading stuff on a player-to-player market, you're buying your stuff from Epic for a high premium, and that's it. And the things that you buy, like you can buy from the blueprints, and then you can trade them to other players, but they also have their in-game store as well, where you can buy items that are on sale right now, or hey, we're giving this away, and you can't trade that to other players. Once you've bought that with actual credits, not from a blueprint, it's yours, and you can't get rid of it.
I gotta say, hearing this makes me even less of an Epic fan. Like we talked about in the last podcast, how our kind of opinions of Epic versus Apple, like when I first heard about that, I was on the side of Epic, because I'm like, all right, little guys going after the big corporation, the big evil corporation. And then reading more about it, I'm like, actually Epic's wrong, because they're breaking their contract and they knew what they were getting into. And now hearing about this, it's like $20 for a skin for a stupid little race car thingy that jumps around and hits a ball. That's freaking ridiculous. That makes me so mad hearing about that. $5,
those are the high tier items, though.
$5 at the most, Epic.
Right.
Like $20, that is outrageous.
And it goes higher than that too. I think it goes upwards of 25 if you've got attributes on them as well.
How much did the game cost before it was free to play?
I got my copy for $20.
You've already spent more. You've doubled that price of that game by buying that skin. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've spent
well over $500 on this game.
Holy crap! That's the world we live in, though, guys. That's like that. That's why EA is evil. That's why this whole concept is evil. Like, you go from paying $20, $30, $40, $50 for a game, and that's it, to $500, thousands of dollars, whatever, for a game. Like, it is so diabolical, but in like a genius way, like Lex Luthor kind of diabolical. But people buy into it. I'm not putting you down for doing it. Like, I've always been of the opinion that if you want something that's going to bring you joy, pay for it. Whatever, whether it's a mobile app purchase or an in-game purchase, if it's gonna make you happy, freaking do it. It doesn't matter. But like, just on a grand scheme of things, like, it's so diabolical. It's so crazy. Like, I remember growing up playing games when DLC wasn't a thing. You had games, and you might have expansion packs that cost, $20 or $30, but like DLC and like that whole market didn't exist. To see it now and the way it's going, it blows me away. I can't imagine how much money these companies are making on this business, on this, how they do their business with purchases like that. It's definitely exploitive, but at the same time, it's like, but people are choosing to do it. There's no one's holding a gun to your head to make you spend $20 on that animated woo. I know it's probably not an woo thing, but it makes me laugh to think of it. No one hold a gun to your head to pay for that. You did it on your own volition, and that's fine. But therein lies the brilliant subterfuge of the concept. It's like,
they know people's gonna do it.
It's like the cigarette companies. No one forces people to smoke. They're just providing the service, and people do it. Everyone knows that smoking is really bad for you. I mean, everyone knows it, but people do it anyways, and the companies know that. It's the same way with freaking video game companies now, and it's really disturbing. And I don't think anyone really thinks about it. Everyone just accepts it as being normal, and it's just like, that should not be normal. And it's a really disturbing trend that everyone seems to be okay with. I mean, I know there are people that aren't okay with it, and there are people that speak out against it, but for the most part, and the proof is in the pudding, they're still doing it. Therefore, people don't give a crap. people actually cared and wanted to do away with it, it wouldn't that business model wouldn't exist. But it does exist. So
I was okay with how they were doing things before they swapped over to blueprints. Like, in all honesty, because it's like, hey, you buy a 10-pack of keys for $10. Wow, it's $1 a key. And, you know, I can hold on to these for as long as I want. I can open crates if I want, or I don't even have to. But then as somebody who's played the game since the beginning, watching them just literally bend everybody over and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, no, so you can get these blueprints and you know what's on them. We'll tell you right off the bat, but you got to pay a premium for them now. That literally, like, it disrupted the whole trade community, because there was a thing that I used to do in that as somebody who traded a lot. I would have items. I wouldn't have what I wanted. I would trade a bunch of items to get something that I wanted, and then I'd continue the trade cycles until I had more items and stuff like that, to where it got to a point where I didn't need to buy stuff anymore. I would just trade my valuables for other valuables, and now that market is somewhat dead now.
Yeah.
Because of what they've done, because prices have now skyrocketed. Something that would they used to base the prices on an X model. Like, they would take one of the black market decals, which is called the X, the XX, I think. I forget. It's been so long since I've actually done that. Yeah, sure. We'll just say the UWU. It was rated, like, that black market was rated on an X scale as 1X.
Okay.
Or it was called 20XX is what that decal was called. And so things were based on the scale of X. So things were either below 1X or above 1X. And so it's like you would get something like a decal that I got, which was called Heat Wave. That cost somewhere in the ballpark of like 8 to 10X. So you would need 8 of those 20XX decals, or something that would equivalent up to that. And like, they had price guides and everything, everybody working together to figure out how much stuff is worth and how much of it's actually out on the market that's been opened and whatnot. And so that, you know, it was a cool little thing. And it's like, you know, you had valuable items, and you had people who would sell those items on eBay and make a profit off of that for people who wanted to just buy cash, kind of like how Epic's doing. Except now Epic has completely turned everything against everybody, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, whatever you were buying for $14 on eBay is now $20 for you to buy off of a blueprint. And so that raises the prices up higher for people to try and make a profit off of that, which I don't know how the legalities of that anyway. I never actually tried to sell any items on eBay. I just wanted the items for myself.
Epic Games has essentially established a monopoly,
yeah,
which they're fighting Apple right now about. Monopoly. The hypocrisy is incredible.
Yeah, I never thought that my useless knowledge of Rocket League would ever actually mean anything until now.
This entire conversation could be a topic in of its own, and we could probably talk about it for forever, especially with the whole, like, you know, paying to win loot crate sort of mentality. But like, wow, like I didn't even think about that either until you started talking about this right now. It's like, Epic Games is literally right now, as of today, I believe. I think we have links to it specifically, but the Apple versus Epic goes to court today. As of the day of we're recording this, today is day 1 of court. And literally, Epic Games is going to court with freaking Apple about a monopoly. And they own a freaking monopoly with freaking Rocket League.
Yeah. It's crazy, because it used to not be like that until they introduced the blueprint system. It used to be you paid $1 for a crate, and a portion of that went towards the esports league. And now I'm sure part of it still goes towards esports, but now it's like, hey, yeah, buy 2,000 credits for $20, and now go buy this skin for 2,200 credits. Oh, but you're missing 200 credits. Let's go ahead and go back into the store and buy 500 credits. Let's make an odd number of them.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you got your item and all that shit. You know, I mean, they have their Rocket Pass where they give you free credits, but it costs $10 to do the Rocket Pass, as it does with every other game that has some sort of battle pass. It's just a way for these companies to make more money off of a game because they're greedy.
It's just crazy.
It's honestly absurd how they're doing stuff. Like, I mean, sure, yeah, that's cool. You know, if you don't want the battle pass, don't buy it. That's fine. The people who do, they're going to buy it. Well, I mean, when people see all these items, you know, they want it. They want to have it. They're going to buy into the battle pass. They're going to work their ass off to get up to the level where they can get their items and complete the battle pass or the rocket pass or whatever. And then what? Oh, let's just go ahead and do it in the next season again. Like, literally, people, people are buying into this, and that is what's enabling these companies to do this. And it's just how it's going to have to be for now, because people don't not do that.
Right. Well, it's like the argument like when EA's thing was going down with the loot crates and Star Wars Battlefield or whatever. The argument was always like, just don't do it. Like that'll show EA, like, just don't do it. But the problem is
people did it anyway.
Everyone kept freaking doing it. And it's like, that's the problem. It's like, nothing's ever going to change if people just freaking keep doing this and keep buying into the diabolical, corrupt behavior that these let's be honest, a lot of these companies, they're uber corporations. We're talking about billions of dollars. Billions of dollars, and they want more, and they want it from you, and they want it from me, and they want it from you listening to us right now, however many people that might be. It's just crazy. Like, I'm literally kind of like blown away right now talking about this, because I wasn't expecting to get into an in-depth outside of what we were planning on.
You were not expecting Rocket League free to play to throw you down the rabbit hole of corporate greed.
Oh my God, I can't handle it. I mean, I can't handle it, but I don't know. That's why I don't play games like that, man. Like, that's why, like, I just like, I mean, I didn't play Rocket League before knowing this, but I'm perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to play it even more now knowing that, probably. Like,
I can respect that.
That's just not my thing. Like, I don't want to go, like, if I want to spend $30 on a game, that's all I want to spend on. I don't want to spend $30 on a game and then, maybe 30 more here, 30 more here, 40 here, 50 here, 10 here, $9.99 here to get that special antenna.
333. Yeah, no, man, I feel it. I mean, honestly, like, I stopped buying into Rocket League when they did the blueprints. I think I bought 3 things with credits. One of them was that $20 skin, and then another one, they were having a bundle deal on a cosmetic, it was a colored car and colored wheels, titanium white dragon wheels, which I've been trying to find forever since I started playing the game and they released them and whatnot. And I got what I wanted. I don't want anything else. I'm not buying into the game anymore. I'm not putting any more of my money into it, because it's ridiculous how much they scalp. Like, people bitch about NVIDIA, people buying all these graphics cards up and scalping the hell out of all these people on eBay trying to make a profit off these graphics cards that people weren't able to get. Oh, but guess what? The corporations scalp the hell out of everybody, and nobody bats a damn eye about it.
Right, because it's they're just used to that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Scalpers should be scalped.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that extreme about it. Anyway, so I think we're done talking about Rocket League.
Yeah,
I'm getting heated just thinking about it more.
I really think that we could literally do a future podcast on this topic, not just Rocket League, but just the business.
Fortnite, Epic Games, just in general, like with their free to play games.
We could do Epic Games in of itself, but just as a business model, is like, pay to win, free to play, that whole idea. Like, I remember when that first started showing up on the scene, and I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now, and we could go on and on about it, but there are some glimmers of hope in this world, and a good example of hope in this world, as far as the industry is concerned, is Left 4 Dead 2 has just released The Last Stand, an expansion that is now available for free with 26 new maps. And here's the kicker, if you didn't know, this is fan made. This is made by this was not a Valve created expansion. This is a community created expansion that was endorsed by Valve and released with their approval and their sanction and their blessing and whatever. This was community created content for Left 4 Dead 2, which is how old now? When did Left 4 Dead 2 even
over 10
come out?
years, I think. 2009 is when it came out. November 17th.
Who would even have been expecting, unless you're paying attention, because I knew about this. I knew this was coming from other things, but who would have ever expected Left 4 Dead 2 to come out with a new update expansion? a game that old. Like, that doesn't happen very often. And to hear that it's community created content with the blessing of the mother company,
Lord Gaben.
This is encouraging. This is the kind of shit that freaking Epic Games needs to be doing. They don't need to be freaking trying to squeeze out every penny from every person. They need to be letting the community make stuff and releasing it, and just like, this is cool. This is encouraging to me. This is like the light that is going to save the industry, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I just think it's really cool.
Hey, I think now that I have a computer that can run this game, we should totally do a thing.
Yeah.
For the expansion.
Yeah.
On your channel. I
would be willing to do a live stream of it. Even.
That would be fun.
I think that would just be fun to do. But yeah, I mean, 26 new maps. Not like 3 or 4. 26 new survival maps with new animations and previously cut dialogue, PvP enhancements, mutations, UI,
and importantly above all, new achievements.
And 30 new achievements. There is more achievements than there are new maps created for this update. This is what I like to see. I think this proves to me that Valve is a company that gives a crap about the community that it creates stuff for.
Even though it doesn't release variants of 3 for its games. But yeah, no, for real.
Yeah, even though Half-Life 3 is probably never going to happen. I think everyone's given up on that, except for those diehards. But this is really encouraging to me to see this, and I love this. Is one of the reasons why that I've always been a big fan of like Bethesda. Even they've got the modding community. Any game creator, any developer that encourages community creation and mod creation, to me, I think is great, because it just increases the lifespan of that game like double. Mm-hmm. And this is proof. I mean, like you said, Left 4 Dead 2 came out like, X amount of years, whatever you said it was, to 10, 15 years
almost
ago.
11 years ago.
Almost
and
11
now
years
it's
ago.
going to see a surge of new players because of this update.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised if this becomes super popular again. If one of the bigger YouTubers gets a hold of this, freaking Markiplier or Jacksepticeye plays this update, then it's going to be huge. It's going to be like Among Us and what's that other game, Fall Flat or whatever,
Fall Guys,
thank you. It'll be like that. So it's really encouraging to see this sort of thing. Even though the game is old, it's still fun. And now we got a bunch of new content for it. So heck yeah, it's and it's free. This is adding more quality than the $20 Uwu skin for your Rocket League car.
Hey. I mean, you're not wrong, but hey.
I'm just saying, it's just a comparison. It's like, you can charge $20 for a skin that means nothing, really, when it comes down to it. I'm not judging you for getting your animated skin. And like I said, I'm pro. If it's something that's going to make you happy, do it. I don't give a crap what it is, within reason. Don't do drugs, kids. What?
Yeah. I was gonna say, or do. It's up to you.
No, just don't.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Nike, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
This is all getting edited out, but
don't do it.
Actually, it might not. Who knows? I might leave it all in to make it more believable.
Dang, I'd edit that part out. Jesus. Speaking of uwu, I'll do it.
Go for it.
Speaking of uwu skins, which has nothing to do with it, let's talk about TikTok and all their uwu content that they have.
Yeah.
Or all the uwu content they're not going to have. Oh. Because the Department of Commerce has ordered that downloads for the app be banned in the US.
Or did they?
Starting yesterday. Or did they? or yesterday at the time of this recording.
Right.
They fuck. I got an article here saying that American users will not be able to download the app after September 20th. So this has been a while, actually.
Yeah.
Those with the apps that were already downloaded would still be able to use them, but they wouldn't get updates. Okay, so I mean, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure everybody's already heard this article. There was an update, which was updated today. Federal judges blocked the White House's ban on TikTok downloads in the United States.
Yeah.
Just hours before the ban was set to take effect.
Yeah.
I guess there was a request for a temporary injunction against the U.S. ban after claiming that the Trump administration likely exceeded the lawful bounds of the International Emergency Economic Power Act. I'm not a political guy, so I have no idea what that means. So what I see there is that TikTok is still here, and I still get to see my cool videos of people cheating on Call of Duty Warzone and the occasional thirsty lady trying to get attention from men on TikTok.
Thoughts.
Thank you. That's there as well. And also cute cats and dogs and
always
other
a plus.
things and DIYs. There's a lot of fun things on TikTok. I wasn't a big TikTok fan in the beginning. But I've grown to like it because there's a lot of cool stuff. You can also see some Rocket League gameplay on there as well. It's pretty impressive.
That being said, that TikTok is still under the threat of effectively being shut down by November 12th if a deal to sell its U.S. operations isn't complete by the deadline. As it sounds like I'm really smart, I'm actually just reading it straight from the article there.
Yeah.
So like, it's a temporary injunction, as it says. It's a temporary thing. Like you said, I'm not political either. The only reason I think we're talking about this right now is TikTok, and it's sort of like it's part of the spectrum of like the internet, and we kind of delve into that sort of stuff, and it is interesting. I think it's really stupid that the freaking U.S. government, our government, is taking such a stand on something as freaking stupid as TikTok.
Right.
You know, like there are so many more pressing issues. So many more pressing issues. I won't even go into the trouble of listing them. Most of the people listening know the issues because most of the people listening probably are living the issues outside of the US. They have their own issues. They don't give a crap about ours. But just like, this makes no sense. This makes even less sense to me than freaking Epic Games and Apple. Like,
right, it's just an app that people can download and make videos with, and you know, it's fun for everybody. But I think the big thing behind it was, at least for TikTok, is because it was a Chinese app, and there's the risk of data security and all that kind of stuff as well. And so I can see where they're coming from, but it's like, how about we just not put personal data up on there that's that personal if it really matters that much. I mean, it's just it's coming to the thing of like Facebook as well, or YouTube, or any of these places, Amazon, they all have your data, and honestly it sounds like the US just wants that data more. Well, and if they can't have it, then nobody can.
It sounds like to me that there are people who are making fun of Donald Trump on TikTok, and he don't like it, so he's going to get rid of it.
Right.
And that is so Orwellian. Is that the right term?
I don't know. I have no idea, bro. I don't know that kind of English language.
It's just like Orwell or Sorry guys, I forgot Bubbz was colorblind. He can't understand intellectual things. Never mind. Or no, like Orwell, like freaking 1983. It's dystopian. It's we could talk all day on this subject in of itself. But again, this is not a political podcast. I don't want it to become a political podcast. So yeah, we're gonna end this here. As of right now, TikTok's still a thing, although temporarily, if things can't be freaking settled, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So let's just, I say, move on from that. the next, well, something
You
we
good,
can,
bro?
huh? Oh yeah. Aside from TikTok, we have to look forward to seeing what happens with all of that. Something else we have the potential of looking forward to is the successor to the Nintendo Switch, which
my God,
which we can all be rest assured will be released before the year 2100.
What?
At least according.
Wait, so you're telling me that they've got a release date of before 2100 for a new Nintendo item?
Technically, yes. The quote that they made was that the next quote unquote gaming system will launch sometime in 20 blank.
20 blank.
So 20 blank blank, which means it's going to be, at least we know that it will be released before 2100 because the one was not in that equation. They're obviously not releasing any information as to specific dates, which is very Nintendo. It does not surprise me in the least. This is obviously a very sarcastic news story. Sure. It's like, obviously, 20XX is actually how it's listed. It could be 2021 for all we know. But again, it could literally be like, 2099.
Yeah, I mean, it could, honestly. There's no telling. I mean, if they're following a similar trend, if they're going to follow a similar trend like Xbox and PlayStation do, then you would think that you would see the next videos coming, or not videos, but the next video game consoles coming out within a 7-year mark. But Nintendo's weird. Yeah. They do things that are weird.
They're an anomaly.
Yeah, I mean, hell, when they have their Friday or Saturday game releases, they have theirs on Tuesday. Like, what are they doing? But, they're their own thing, so who knows? They could come out with it in 2099. Who knows? Or, it could be 3-4 years from now, because, the Switch was released in 2017.
Yeah, and I think the Wii U, which was before the Switch, was released in 2011. So it's literally what you just said, 7-year period.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to say, but if they're following the same suit, then that just might be how it is.
If it is a 7-year thing, then we still probably have a few years, and that's perfectly fine because the Switch is relatively new on the scene, so it makes sense for there to be a few more years left in its existence. And I think it's got plenty of life left in it.
Right, especially with the release of the Switch Lite and the new updated Switch they're going to be releasing here pretty soon as well.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense for them to bring out some updated, just like all the other consoles that come out with Slims and 4K versions and Pro versions. Mm-hmm. It makes sense for Nintendo to come up with its own sort of new and improved versions to get people through until the next rendition, whether it's a Switch or a completely brand new console. It doesn't have to necessarily be the Switch 2. It could be the next.
Can we have the Nintendo Swatch?
Yeah.
Yes.
We could.
Who knows? That's what it is.
Who knows? And typical Nintendo fashion, we will probably not know until it's ready to be released. Because Nintendo is notorious for keeping that stuff locked up tight. I don't know how they do it. Leaks don't get out. People don't spill the beans. Maybe they are killing people. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. Please, Nintendo, do not sue us for making accusations. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just
suing is the last of your worries when you mess with Nintendo Mafia, my friend.
Dang it. But who knows? It's just I thought it was a sort of a humorous way to title a news article.
One that they didn't even really need to make, honestly.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that Nintendo is not going to stop at the Switch. Everyone knows that.
The Swatch.
They're going to stop at the Swatch.
The Switch Swatch.
So look forward to 2024 Nintendo Swatch.
Don't take our words on it. If by the time you listen to this, it's been 4 years or whatever, and they've announced the new Nintendo console, and we were wrong, definitely leave a comment.
But if we're right, you all owe us a Nintendo Switch.
Dang.
Does that not seem fair?
Well, I mean, no, yeah, you're right. That's fair.
Seems pretty fair to me.
Seems pretty fair. Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. So, all of this has been leading up to the big news. The big news of at least, I would say it's probably the biggest news of the year. As far as video games are concerned, I don't know.
At least right now until something else comes up.
At least now until something else happens. But the Microsoft purchase, the acquisition, one might even say, of ZeniMax Studios, aka Bethesda, aka Obsidian. I think Obsidian does fall under, because I think Obsidian falls under Bethesda and ZeniMax. So all of them, they now belong to Microsoft.
For the low price of $7.5 billion.
Wow! I want that anime sound. Wow! You know what I'm talking about? Wow!
You could probably throw that in post.
Yeah, or I'll just leave it the way it is because it's funnier. But like,
anyway.
yeah, $7.5 billion.
That's $7.5 billion doll hairs.
Weren't we just talking about how this industry is billions of dollars?
Uh-huh. That's pocket change to Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's like me if I go to Taco Bell and order like a quesarito and 2 Crunchwrap Supremes. That's literally that to them.
Not a sponsor. No.
Not a sponsor, but very hungry.
But, yeah, right? I had my hopes up. But if Taco Bell wants to sponsor us, we're always open. Throw us a line.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, Microsoft bought the well-beloved IP, well, the company, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Obsidian, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and everything else in between now belongs to the overlord of Microsoft. What does that mean for everything? That's the question I think is on everyone's mind right now. You know, like, is everything going to be Xbox now? Is Sony screwed out of Elder Scrolls and everything else? I mean,
honestly, what I think is this is a good deal for Bethesda.
Oh, sure.
Being bought out, or I wouldn't say being bought out, because as far as that goes, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Obsidian, all those people that are under them, they're all free range to do what they want. Still.
Sure, absolutely.
But what that means, being owned by Microsoft, that means more money, which means better games. And I don't think, well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean better games, but it means more budget for games.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, more money don't necessarily mean better game.
That is fair. But, with all that, I think it'll be good for them, because with a higher budget, they could potentially make better games, more expansive games than what they have already to date. And it's just like, you've got Microsoft backing you, and that also means more people will play your games, especially if they're said on Game Pass or something like that through Xbox. So they're opening their world up to that. In terms of possibly making them console exclusive at this point, I feel like they would honor any pre-decided factors that they've already made for what games are going to come out where. I think they're going to honor those conditions.
Well, I think they honestly have to.
Yeah. And then in the future, I think it would be foolish for Microsoft to not allow Bethesda's games to be on other platforms, because that's a loss of money. Right. And like every other monopoly we've talked about tonight, they all like money.
It's just a question of what's going to make them more money. Is it going to make them more money to retain the exclusivity of those titles, Or like you said, is it going to make them more money to spread the wealth, essentially? It really depends on, are they making more money from the software, or are they making more money from the hardware? Are they making more money from the games, or are they making more money from their consoles that they're selling? I don't know. I don't have the numbers on, you know, what games sell for versus what consoles sell for and their totalities and whatnot, but I agree with you that it's good for ZeniMax, it's good for Bethesda, it's good for Obsidian, it's money in their pockets, it's funding. Maybe they can hire more people to do more things, and maybe we won't have to wait 20 years for the next Elder Scrolls anymore.
Oh, hey, quick update on Elder Scrolls 6. No updates.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I got you. The other thing too is, like, through reading this article, they never said how many of the games would be like exclusive to Xbox, but they did say that games would be available to other consoles on a case-by-case basis. So I mean, they're willing to work with the other consoles, but at the same time, I'm sure there's going to be a few of those juicy steaks that are only going to be for the higher class, being Xbox.
I imagine that Bethesda had originally contracts with Sony and contracts with Microsoft prior to this acquisition. Those contracts should still be applicable. They should still hold water. So if Sony made a deal with Bethesda prior to Microsoft buying Bethesda to have the ability to have Elder Scrolls, whether it's just Elder Scrolls 6 or Elder Scrolls in general forever, to be available on the PlayStation 5, then I don't think that there's anything that Microsoft can do aside from breaking the contract straight up like Epic's trying to do with Apple.
Looking at you, Epic.
Looking at you, Epic. Aside from doing that, there's not a really, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I would think that there's really not a whole lot that Microsoft could do if that agreement had already been made, unless Sony was willing to, you know, say, nah, we're good, we don't need that contract, which they are not going to do, because
no,
that's lost money. That's lost money, however you look at it. So that ain't gonna happen. So I imagine whatever deal existed before is still gonna hold water.
Yeah. And honestly, if the past is anything to regulate this, take a look at Grand Theft Auto, for example. Back in the day, before the next gen Grand Theft Auto being 4 and up, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, all those ones, they had a deal with PlayStation where they would release the games on PlayStation first, and then after a year, Xbox would get them. Right. So maybe it could be something like that in the future, for depending on the games, or maybe it'll be like it is now with 2K and Rockstar, where they just release them on all the consoles. It doesn't matter. But the only thing is, it's going to have a Microsoft brand behind it. Yeah, and there are going to be people that care about that, which is something that I've never understood personally. Like, brand loyalty. In the past, I've always owned both consoles. Only recently I don't, because I just can't afford it. You have no brand loyalty. You're damn right I don't. Because what does brand loyalty give me? Absolutely nothing. It only limits my enjoyment to play other games that are only available on other consoles. So for me, well, I mean, go ahead. The whole brand loyalty thing, though, it's like Xbox, PlayStation, which one's better? It doesn't fucking matter. It's stupid. It doesn't matter. It's so stupid. It is stupid. And it's the same thing with AMD versus Intel on the computer end. You think they have console wars? Well, they still have PC wars amongst their own people with AMD and Intel. So, I mean, brand loyalty is such a dumb thing. Just get what you like and don't complain that somebody else got something different. Well, that whole mentality applies to so many walks of life. It applies to politics. It applies to sports. In fact, it's something that I call the sports mentality, where it's my side versus your side. The facts don't matter. The information is irrelevant. All that matters is that my side that I've chosen
whatever the reasons may be. All that matters is that my side wins and your side loses. And that's the way that I look at the console war. It's the way that I look at PC war, like AMD and Intel, like you mentioned. It's the same thing. It's the same way I look at, current political BS. It's like no one gives a crap about what anything means. All that matters is that their team wins.
Yep.
My team wins, and F your team. My team wins at all costs, no matter the costs. The means meet the ends, or whatever the term is called. The ends justify the means. I've never subscribed to that idea, and I never will. If it comes down to people are like, well, you have to choose a side, screw you. I don't have to do anything. I choose both sides, or I choose no sides. I don't have to choose a side. And I'll never understand that mentality. That's what I have to say on that.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was really brand loyal to Xbox for the longest time, and I still am. I'm not going to knock PlayStation. There's some things that PlayStation does better than Xbox, just like Xbox does better than PlayStation. Do I own both? Yes. Do I favor one over the other? Yes. But I mean, I'm not going to hate on my PlayStation. I might not use it very often, but it's still there for when I need it. Right. It's like there shouldn't be a decision factor with that. You get the one that you like. I mean, everything is becoming cross-compatible and cross-platform these days.
Exactly.
Just take the one that you want, and then you can tell your friends how much cooler your console is while you guys are actually playing games together.
Right, and we talked about this last podcast about how things were. We never thought we'd ever see cross-platform play, like with Call of Duty. You've got console players and PC players, both sides of the console and PC players all playing in the same match. Some
like
people,
you and I, when
like
we played that one time.
Exactly, like I was playing on the PC, you're playing on the Xbox. And some people might argue that there's an unfair advantage from, like, let's say the PC, because they're using the mouse and keyboard versus consoles with the controllers. It's like, well, you can make that argument all you want, but at least it can be done.
Right.
Like in the past, like if I owned an Xbox and my buddy owned a PlayStation or vice versa, I didn't get to play with that friend. Now I get to.
He was sad, and now he's not.
He was sad, I was sad, now neither of us are sad because we can play together, regardless.
Or we're both sad playing together. Still sad.
Because we're losing.
My life is sad.
And hiding in a metro.
Yeah, exactly. My life is sad.
Yeah. I live for this shit. Yes. I definitely agree that it's good for Bethesda, and I'm really interested just to see, like, how are they going to improve? Are they going to improve? Is Microsoft backing them? In fact, a very good point. This came up on Facebook with some friends about it, and my comment was, at least it wasn't EA.
Right, yeah, no, thank God.
I think we can all agree. At least EA did not buy Bethesda. At least Bethesda did not become BioWare. BioWare is one of my most beloved developers of games that I absolutely love. And as of right now, the last game they made flopped, and there's been nothing from BioWare in forever.
Yeah. I think EA should change their slogan at this point from challenge everything to everything's challenging, because they can't do anything right.
Well, and it comes down to what we were talking about. It's monopoly, it's money, it's greed. Quality means nothing to these people because all that matters is numbers. And if your game that these people make is not selling, I can't even throw a number out there because we're talking about such exorbitant size numbers that I don't even know where to begin. If a game doesn't make $1 billion, is it a failure? I don't know. I don't know what their standard is.
Let's ask Anthem.
Exactly. It's a perfect example. Well, I mean, you can ask Anthem and you can ask Mass Effect Andromeda, which I enjoyed, and I know a lot of people
really wanted that to be a good game.
I enjoyed Andromeda. I don't care what
enough of it.
I don't care what anyone says. It wasn't perfect. I played it before they fixed it, and I still enjoyed it. But again,
I enjoyed every Mass Effect, honestly. I didn't play enough of Andromeda just because it was just too far away from the last time I'd actually played Mass Effect, and I was so far out of the series.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I enjoyed it. Did I enjoy the other ones more? Absolutely. Did I see the potential of where Mass Effect could go? Absolutely. And it really is heartbreaking to see that there's, at this point, no plans to make more. And that was something that we talked about in the last podcast about Bethesda. It's like, are they going to be able to live up to the expectations? And what happens if they don't? It could mean the end of certain IPs. It could be the end of Elder Scrolls for all we know.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that now that they got more money behind them, that maybe some of the things that they were not going to be able to implement, now they're going to be able to implement. Maybe that corner that they were going to have to, cut, they don't have to anymore because they've got the money to back it up.
Right.
So fingers crossed, because who the frick knows what's going to happen with that. Fingers crossed. I hope it's good.
I do too.
And I think everyone hopes that. I don't care if future Elder Scrolls games are going to be Xbox exclusive or not, because I play all those games on the PC anyways.
Yeah, boy.
But I mean, therein lies the crux of it. Like, what about the people who don't own Xboxes? It's like, it's dividing. It could possibly be a dividing thing. It's going to go one of two ways, I think. You're either going to convert a lot of people to Xbox, or you're going to alienate them. So either Microsoft and Bethesda are going to make out like bandits, or Bethesda's going to lose. That's the thing I'm worried about. That's the thing that I think people need to think about, is that, yeah, Microsoft has purchased Bethesda, and yes, this could become exclusive titles. That's not going to hurt Microsoft in the end, but it could hurt Bethesda in the end severely.
Yeah, Microsoft make that pocket change back in like no time flat.
Yeah,
They
exactly. But I think that people aren't thinking about that, and they need to think about that this acquisition could very well be the beginning. It could be the launch pad of a brand new titan of industry, game making. Bethesda, ZeniMax, Obsidian Studios, super mega video game developing thing, or it could be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if now that Microsoft owns them, if they don't live up to it, they're gonna can it. Which is what EA has done with other titles, beloved developers. Mass Effect is a prime example of that. Mass Effect Andromeda, even though it was a good game, got so much bad hype, and essentially, according to financial people in a company that makes billions, deemed it to be unsuccessful. They're no longer going to allow them to make more. They're not going to fund them to make more games, because now because they essentially own them, and that's what could happen, I think, with Microsoft and ZeniMax and Bethesda and Obsidian. They call the shots now.
I mean, I want to take a moment to be real here, though. Like, if Bethesda just strays away from, I don't want to say failure, because it kind of was and kind of wasn't. Like, stuff like Fallout 76, go back to the roots that people wanted from the games. Go back to your single-player RPG adventure games and just do what you did before. You were doing great back then. As long as they keep on the path that they know they're good at, they won't ever have a bad game.
Right.
Because, I mean, no Elder Scrolls game was ever bad. Fallout, I mean, it can be hit or miss for some people. I've enjoyed every single Fallout game up until, I enjoyed 76 a little bit too. I mean, it's not my favorite to go back to, but I can go back and play Fallout 4 anytime. Same goes for Elder Scrolls. I can always go back and play, Skyrim. I can't play ESO, though, because that's a whole different breed, and that's definitely not what I'm part of. But, it's all there. As long as they stay on the right path that they have, there should be no issues, honestly. I think they'll be around for a long time.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. But like with everything else in this industry, time will tell. So I think the future of Bethesda, the future of Elder Scrolls and Fallout and everything in between that deals with that whole acquisition, the future of it, time will tell. We don't really know what's going to happen there until it happens. So I think we'll leave this subject there for the time being, guys, until we know more, because everything else is just going to be conjecture and suppositions and assumptions, and we could talk for hours on that alone. So we're gonna move on and close out the podcast with the games that we are looking forward to this year. There's only a few months left, but there's still time for some really great games coming out, and we have at our disposal a list here of Xbox and PlayStation, Switches, and PC games that are all coming out between now and the end of the year, and we're just gonna kind of go through and kind of talk about which ones we're looking forward to and maybe why and whatnot. So first on my list, and this one's coming out possibly tomorrow. I think this that I'm looking at here is wrong, because on Steam I think it's later. I'm not sure, but Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I've not played any of the other Baldur's Gate games, but something that I've been into a lot recently is D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing with friends of mine, tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, and Baldur's Gate falls under that mythos, that universe of Dungeons and Dragons. And I've been playing other games similar to that style of game, the sort of top-down isometric turn-based whatever level up RPGs. I've been playing a lot of Pillars of Eternity, which isn't Dungeons and Dragons but the same style. But Baldur's Gate 3 is a new game of that style, and I'm really looking forward to trying it, because I'm really getting into the older games, but I'd like something a little newer with some shiny graphics and stuff. So definitely looking forward to that. That's what I'm looking at. It says September 30th, but I think it's later than that. I could be wrong. We'll find out later. Another game that I'm looking forward to is coming out in October, Star Wars Squadrons. We haven't had a good Star Wars space sim in a while. Battlefield 2 does not count. The last ones that I played, you're talking way back, freaking TIE Fighter and X-Wing. These are old games that probably many of you never even played who are listening, but Star Wars Squadrons looks really cool. I don't know, because EA and Star Wars, whoever knows if it's going to be good or not. Hoping this is going to be good. Definitely looking forward to that. And of course, I can't talk about games that I'm looking forward to without talking about freaking Cyberpunk 2077. We're so freaking close. I can taste it. November 19th, I believe, is the release date for that. We're so freaking close. It's still so far away, though. There's plenty of other games between now and then that I'm looking forward to, but those are my choices. You all know Cyberpunk, so I'm not really going to talk about it much more than that. But those are my top 3 between now and the end of this year. And I think all of those are going to be current systems. None of those are considered next gen systems or future gen systems. So there's that as well. And Baldur's Gate is PC only, apparently. So. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you, Bubbz? What are you looking forward to, if anything?
Well, I mean, considering my taste for games has really declined over the years, especially this year, there's a couple that I'm looking forward to. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with Just Dance 2021. Oh, you think I'm joking?
No, I don't think you're joking. That's the thing.
Okay, because I'm totally joking. I don't care about that.
Dang.
I was just playing. So one of the things I saw on this list that I'm really excited for is a game called 13.
Ooh.
It's a remake of an old game that I played back on Xbox at Buddy's house years ago. So they're doing a remake of 13. It's been such a long time since I played it. It's like a comic book style shooter.
Mm-hmm.
With the graphics are like comic booky-ish from what I can remember.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just like it's a shooter from, like I said, what I remember. So they're going to be releasing that November 10th on all current gen, PC and Switch. So that'll be super duper cool. Next up on my list, we have got the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity coming out on November 20th for the Nintendo Switch. So what's happening here is, we all know Breath of the Wild 2 is coming eventually. Some point. Well, Age of Calamity is supposed to be the prequel to Breath of the Wild, and here's the kicker: is it's a Warriors game. So they had the original Hyrule Warriors, which was, it's a warrior style game with 1 versus 100 big ol' PvE battles and all that. And it was a cool concept that they added the Legend of Zelda characters to, but now the Warriors people and Nintendo and the people who made Legend of Zelda, they're teaming up. This is going to be a canon prequel to Breath of the Wild. So it's going to be a Warriors game. You're going to be able to play as Link, the 4 other protectors of Princess Zelda and all that. And yeah, so it's going to be a really cool game. It's going to be a different change of pace because, like I said, it's going to have that 1 versus 100 mentality of PvE. But again, because the Legend of Zelda's creators are working so closely with the Warriors creators, this is going to be considered a canon game to the storyline. This is the prequel to Breath of the Wild.
Cool.
So that's coming out November 20th for the Nintendo Switch. I'm kind of stoked for that. I may or may not pick it up. Just because I'm stoked for something doesn't always necessarily mean I'm going to buy it. That's just me.
No, I hear you.
I buy games for $3 that are ridiculously stupid that I'd never looked forward to just because of how dumb they are. Yeah. And then I'll still buy those. And then a game like this, $59.99. Yeah, that might be great. I think I'll wait for it to go on sale 5 years later. That's just how I am. My last one, and this has an unknown release date for 2020. My next one up on here, it says it's confirmed for 2020, but I don't know how truthful that's going to be. It's another Tom Clancy's game. It's a new Rainbow Six game called Rainbow Six Quarantine. I don't know too much about this, but I'm a huge fan of like Rainbow Six Siege, and just Tom Clancy games in general are pretty fun for me. And now that I'm seeing that Rainbow Six is getting a new game, or maybe a new expansion to Siege, I'm not sure 100%, but I'm looking forward to it regardless. And I'm sure anybody who really likes Rainbow Six or just Tom Clancy in general will be looking forward to this game, because most of the Tom Clancy games are pretty good. I mean, they've started to decline over the years, but I mean, they still got good stories to them and whatnot. And then Rainbow Six Siege, of course, it's your multiplayer 5v5 shooter. Honestly, it's, I mean, meh.
Not a fan.
But, okay, that's fair. Not a lot of people would be. I understand that. I do happen to I liked the game before they started breaking things and fixing things that weren't broken. But, I was real loyal to that series. So, I mean, it's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping that they'll put out some more information about it as time goes on. But it piqued my interest. Yeah. And that's going to be it for me, really. I mean, like I said, I don't really look forward to games anymore. I mean, hell, I still play 7 Days to Die.
So depressing.
I'm all excited for brand new graphics card playing 7 Days to Die with no lag. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I hear you. No, there's plenty of good stuff coming. I could have easily mentioned plenty more on that list that I didn't. I didn't even know about the Hyrule thing until you mentioned it. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was something else, and it sounds really cool. So I'd have to add that to my own mental list. But yeah, there's still plenty of life left in this year for some good games. Not including next gen or future gen, whatever we're calling it, games. So yeah.
Oh, let's not forget, big shout out to Little Big Planet. They got a new game coming out called Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I like that series. It wasn't really on my top list, but I mean, it's still kind of a cool thing. So yeah, big old shout out to Sackboy.
Because they definitely need a shout out from us.
Sackboy.
You just wanted to say Sackboy.
I did. But no, like for real though, Little Big Planet was a cool game, but I mean, it's been so long since I played it.
Which is funny because you mentioned Sackboy, but you didn't mention Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and you're more likely to probably play Cold War than Sackboy.
Well, yeah, but we already talked about Cold War in 2 podcasts. Why am I going to say that's... I mean, yeah, I guess that's, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, but who knows? I might not even be looking forward to it.
You already said you were. It's too late.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't on my top. I was looking for games that I hadn't talked about yet.
Fair enough. So before we end things, I would like to take a moment to kind of share with the listeners, like, what are we working on? What are we playing? What's interesting to us right now? And I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Bubbz here. Tell us about what you're doing these days, Mr. Bubbz.
So, like I said earlier, I got a new PC, so I'm really exploring into the whole gaming on PC thing now, because I've got so many fun games that I can play now finally. No Man's Skies, or No Man's Sky and City Skylines and all that kind of stuff.
Everything.
Pretty much everything, without having to worry about if my computer can handle it or if it's going to die in the middle of the game. So some of the games I've started playing City Skylines. I've been enjoying that again, especially with no lag and all that. I have plans to play some more Among Us. That's just an overall fun game. 7 Days to Die, that's definitely up on my list. I would even go as far to say as to look out maybe for some new content from Alpha 19 shortly as well. And yeah, so just some of those games. Possibly going to do the VR thing here within a couple of months once I get a little more money saved up. Do some VR live streaming as well. I'm going to try and get back on the kick of live streaming just in general. So definitely be expecting a little more content from me as I get things worked out and rolling. Again, I'm still working on this computer. It's all good to go. I can do stuff with it. But I'm still having issues like garbly sound from Audition and whatnot, and not being able to do stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for me in the gaming. In terms of other things I have going on, I'm in a band called Yesterday's Headline that may have been mentioned at some point in one of the earlier podcasts. But we've got some tracks that we're working on. We have a song on SoundCloud. If you come find us, Yesterday's Headline on SoundCloud. We have a song called Where You Are. It's our first one. It's kind of a demo, but we've got a bunch of tracks. We're writing lyrics for stuff that we don't have lyrics for yet. And we're working on that when we have the time, and it's coming into fruition. And that's about all I've really got aside from working 2 cats.
Yeah, guys, definitely go check out their music. It's really good. Definitely show some support. We'll have links for all the different ways you can find them and listen to their stuff. Definitely check them out. It's definitely worth your time. For me, I have taken a sort of a semi break from YouTube and stuff. On Jarred Gaming, I've taken about a week off or so. By the time you guys listen to this, I'll be back into making videos and stuff. But other than that, like what I've been playing, I mentioned it earlier, I've been playing a game called Pillars of Eternity a lot. Games sort of along those lines. I've also been kind of spreading my time between a game called Grim Dawn and then like Van Helsing. They're all kind of Diablo-esque style, loot crazy type games. Just kind of, I don't know, just playing games that I didn't normally assign time to play that I've been wanting to play, and just kind of mindless games. Other than that, not a whole lot. I've just been like I said, I took a little bit of a break, not only from Jarred Gaming but even from the JnB Boiz channel. So there hasn't been any new creepypastas or anything like that either. But that stuff will definitely be coming again. You got to take a break. If I've got a lesson to anyone in the world listening, you got to take a break sometimes. Even from things that you enjoy doing, you got to take a break. Because as soon as you start getting burned out, as soon as something starts becoming stressful or drudgery, it's no longer fun. It's no longer worth doing. And
you don't want to force yourself to do something that you love if you don't want to do it right away.
Exactly. Because then it just becomes something that you resent. And I didn't want that to happen because I really do enjoy doing what I do, regardless of if 10 people watch it or 100 people or whatever. It doesn't really, none of that has ever really mattered to me, and it still doesn't. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on, and I think that also is going to end and sum up this particular podcast. I think we've spoken what we've had to say and shared our opinions on many, many different subjects that could have gone on for many, many more hours if we allowed it to.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a special sub episode or something talking mad smack about Epic Games. Probably not though, but we'll see.
There's so much, and yeah, there's so much. But either way, thank you guys, everyone, so much for listening to our little podcast here and listening to us ramble on and give our opinions and just supporting what we do. And like I said, there's going to be links to everything in the description. If you're listening to this on YouTube, they'll be available, a lot more available.
And if you're listening to this on Spotify or any other streaming service, come look us up on YouTube and you'll be able to find all the links and everything else and see all the other content that we create.
Yeah, pretty much wherever podcasts can be found, we've got JnB Boiz Podcast up at this point. Not everything, but a lot of things, from Spotify to iHeartRadio, other places that I'd never heard of, like Deezer and a couple other things. But if there's a place that you can think of that has podcasts, you might be able to find us. So give it a shot and see if you can, and give us a follow if you do. And on that note, we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.